Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Tech Guru. Please click on the like, share and subscribe button.
Friends, in this video we will learn about RHEL-8. In RHEL-8 there are two certifications. First is RHCSA and second is RHCE. In RHCSA, Red Hat Certified System Administration, the exam code is EX200. In EX200 you have to first learn SA1 and SA2. Book code is RH124 and RH134. When you learn these two books practically, then you have to attempt the exam EX200 and become Red Hat Certified System Administrator. That is the first exam of Red Hat. And the second exam is Red Hat Certified Engineer RHCE. In RHCE, you have to learn Red Hat System Administration 3. In this exam, Linux automation with Ansible will come. Ansible means automation, that means scripts. Means if you want to create bulk of users, then you have to create a script. When you run it, bulk of users are created at the same time, or you also configure any server with the help of Ansible. Now, history of Linux. Unix is the first operating system in the world, developed by Cam Thompson and Dennis Ritchie in 1969 at Bell Lab by AT&T Company. Free Software Foundation organization. They start a project by name GNU. GNU means GNU's not Unix. The main aim of this project is to develop such an operating system that can run on any platform. That means a kind of operating system that will run on any platform like Intel, AMD or any other IBM or all the hardware that will be existing in this world. In 1991, a student Linus Torvalds developed a kernel plus GNU application called Linux operating system. Linux is an open source technology. Open source technology means its source code is freely available to use, modify, redistribute. That means according to the requirement of his company. That means change the security or any changes and make a new operating system for his own. Linux was created in 1991 by Linus Torvalds, a then student at University of Helsinki. Now we learn about the features of Linux. Linux is the fastest operating system in the world. It runs 2 to 3 times faster than Microsoft Windows. Linux is much secure OS because there is no any problem of virus. That means virus is not attack on the Linux operating system because on Linux there is not execute permission on any file. Linux file format is text format and Windows file format is binary format. Linux is very reliable operating system because kernel of Linux is very stable. As compared to Windows, kernel not crash easily. Kernel of Linux is very small in size and it can be stored in floppy. Now there is a difference between Windows and Linux. In Windows, it is proprietary software. Everything need to buy. That means if you want to install anything like MS Office or any application in the Windows, you have to buy it. On the other hand, in Linux, it is an open source software. Everything is free. In Windows, administrator has full access. That means if you want to any global change in Windows, you must have to log in as administrator. On the other hand, in Linux, root has full access. That means if you want to change the any permission in Linux, you must have to log in as root. Windows is less secure. Linux is more secure. Windows is costly, but Linux cost compares to Windows is less because if you want subscription of Linux, if you see any problem in the Linux, then Red Hat will support you to resolve that issue. Windows is developed by Microsoft Corporation. Linux is developed by Linus Torvalds. In Windows, kernel is not editable, whereas kernel is editable in Linux. We can log in single user at a time in Windows, whereas we can log in 6 user at a time in Linux. Windows has only one desktop environment. KDE is K desktop environment. K means school. In Linux has 2 desktop environment. First is GNU Network Object Model environment, and second is KDE K desktop environment. GNOME means CLI and KDE means graphical. In Windows, virus can attack. In Linux, virus can't attack. Mostly used in servers and clients machines of Windows. That means some servers are running on Microsoft servers and client machine, whereas Linux is mostly used in server machines. Windows is user-friendly operating system, whereas Linux is not user-friendly operating system. Windows is developed in C and C++ language, whereas Linux is developed in C language. Now study about Linux architecture. First is kernel. It is a program. Kernel is a core component of operating system. interact directly with hardware and provide low-level service to upper layer components. Shell, an interface to kernel hiding complexity of kernel's functions from users, take command from users and executes kernel functions. User interface is everything designed into an information device with which a human being may interact. There are two types of user interface. First is CUI, command line user interface, and second is GUI, graphical user interface. On Linux architecture, first layer is hardware, second layer is the kernel, and third layer is the shell. On shell, user can run any number of commands. This type of operating system is installed on server ends and is called CUI, is command line user interface. On the other hand, if you want to install application in GUI, first is hardware, second is kernel, third is shell, then there is a graphical user interface layer. On this GUI, there's an application are installed on GUI. This GUI layer will consume more hardware and become system is very slow as compared to CLI machine, and that is known as GUI, graphical user interface. Now there is a list of Linux distribution. First is RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. You are a manager and you want to good support contract. That means if you face any kind of problem, then you contact with the Red Hat and they will resolve the issue. Second is the CentOS. You want Red Hat without the support contract from Red Hat. That means if you install CentOS, then Red Hat will not support you in any kind of problem you face. Third one is the Fedora. You want Red Hat on your laptop or desktop. That means Fedora is used as a client operating system. That means RHEL is used in server end, CentOS is used for the testing purpose, and Fedora is used for the laptop and desktop for the normal user in graphical mode. Now there are some features comparison between RHEL-8 and RHEL-7. First is default file system. In RHEL-8, the default file system is XFS. In also RHEL-7 is also XFS. The kernel version is 4.1.18.0 in RHEL-8 and RHEL-7 is 3.10.0. Kernel code name is OTA in RHEL-8, Mapio in RHEL-7, Yum Repo, Yellow Dog updater and modifier, AppStream and Base OS in RHEL-8 and RHEL-7 server in RHEL-7, time synchronization, cron D in RHEL-8, NTP and cron D in RHEL-7. Maximum file system size is 1024 terabyte, means 1 petabyte in RHEL-8, 500 terabyte in RHEL-7. Package management, Yum version 4 or DNF in RHEL-8. In RHEL-7, Yum version 3. Default display server, Wayland is the default display server in RHEL-8 and XORG or X11 in RHEL-7. Default network packet filter is NFT tables in RHEL-8 and IP tables in RHEL-7. VM management, default cockpit and Word manager in RHEL-8. Cockpit is a default web application through which you can access the RHEL-8 server graphically and manage it. In RHEL-7 is the Word manager. NFS user nobody nobody user group are merged into nobody. ID is 65534. In RHEL-8, nobody user and group ID is 99 in RHEL-7. VCS available Git 2.18, Mercurial 4.8 and Subversion 1.10. In RHEL-8, in RHEL-7 popular open source RCS, Git, SVN and CVS. NFS configuration is existing on this place. UDP is no longer supported in RHEL-8. In RHEL-7, this path is default NFS. Default database in RHEL-8 is MariaDB 10, MS SQL 8, PostgreSQL and Redis, whereas MySQL and MariaDB in RHEL-7. Hardware architecture is AMD, Intel 64, ARM, IBM Power System and IBM Z in RHEL-8, whereas AMD, Intel, IBM Power and IBM Z 64-bit in RHEL-7. That's it for today. If you like my video, please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you.